This is a Vespa 125 built in Bristol by the Douglas company. The model number is the Vespa 152 L2. The carburettor on this engine sits on top and looks like this. Today I'm going to strip this down and clean it and show you all the parts that make it up. Today I'm going to strip this one down and give it a good clean. I only need a few simple tools. Screwdriver, a 19mm socket, a pair of water pump pliers and a pair of needle pliers. This is the float chamber. So the first thing I do is take off this cover, which is the cover for the fuel filter. Simple screw, remove the screw, take the cover off, and there you have a small gauze filter, which you can just pop off. So basically the fuel comes from the fuel tank into this tube, into this little reservoir here, then it comes up through the gauze, filter out any small particles, and then drops down through this small little hole here. So if we then remove these two screws either side, the top of the float chamber comes off of the bowl, and there you can see the hole that the fuel comes down into. This is the float. The top of the float with the point fits in that hole there. So as this bowl fills with fuel, the float rises up into the hole to cut off the supply of fuel. As the fuel is used by the engine, the float drops down and allows the fuel to flow again to fill the bowl. To remove the bowl, we take the 19mm socket, undo this nut, which screws into the body of the carburettor, has a washer and a washer on that side. So fuel goes into the bottom of the float chamber. There's a small little hole in the bottom which it's fed up through into this part. Through this hole where it then enters the jet assembly. So to remove the jet assembly, we're going to need a small spanner to unscrew. To remove the jet assembly, we take a 7mm socket and that will just unscrew. Out it pops. That's the jet. Then we have the needle assembly to dismantle. We undo this screw here, which has a locking tab, which locks this ring in place. Then this ring needs to be loosened. Unscrew the ring. And then we can withdraw the needle assembly. This is the main body of the carburettor. Can remove this screw, which is your air mixture screw. And that can then be put in the tank for cleaning. This assembly comes apart. You have a small adjustment there which comes out. That is the top part that comes out. You have a spring. This is the cable for your throttle. So you pull the needle out and this comes out like that. So that can go for cleaning. This is the needle and the snap ring, which you can set to various positions depending on where you want it to go in the jet. So that fits in your jet like that. So what I'll do now is clean all these parts and then reassemble. First thing to do is place the jet back into the main body. Tighten that up with a 7mm. Then we can attach the float body chamber to the main body. These need to line up. Then the float can go into the float bowl with the point facing upwards. The cap goes on the top. And then screws to hold that in place. Then we have the little gauze that fits on the top cap, a little screw. Then the needle. Now the assembly of the needle has to be done on the bike itself because the throttle cable needs to be threaded through it. But what I'm going to do here is just fit it in without the throttle cable. So normally the throttle cable would go through there as well, but we're not doing that at the moment because we're not actually on the bike. Then the spring goes in, then this goes on like that. Then this can be then inserted into the body of the carburettor and the jet, like that. And then this ring goes over the top. That screws on. This is the little locking tab to lock it in position. And finally, we have the air mixture screw, which the standard adjustment is to screw it all the way in. Finger tight, and then unscrew it 1.5 turns. So that's a half, 1, 1.5. That's your general starting point. You can then lock it in position with the nut. And there we have the carburettor fully assembled. Right, let's see if we can get this thing to start.